Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Miles' Trial. Today is day 17 of Miles' trial. I'm your host for today, Saturn. I'm still a little nervous because I'm still a little bit not used to doing the shows. But again, I'll do my best to bring you guys the most up-to-date and accurate information from our team who have been attending the trial every day, just so that they can bring the information out to all the viewers like you guys. And before we get started, just a little bit of background information for the trial again. Miles Guo is the founder of the NFSC, and currently he is facing 12 counts of fraud charges and one count of RICO in the Southern District Court of New York, and he has never pled guilty to this day. And the NFSC team, is bringing you guys the live updates every day. And right now, the first segment that we do have is one of our members is right outside of the Southern District Court of New York, and we will bring our member on right now, Max, to give us a reporting of what transpired today during the court. How are you
Hey
doing, Max?
everyone, I'm good. Thank you so much for introducing me, Saturn, and it's good to see you again. It's an honor to be reporting live from the Southern District of New York, here where Miles is currently undergoing trial. As you can see, I'm currently sporting a bow tie because it is a little bit of a cause for celebration today. It is the end of the third full week of the trial, and I believe we are approaching, if not already past the midway point of the suggested trial duration. And before we get started, I just want to let the viewers know that there will be a bit of a logistical change up in terms of the trial starting next week. So next week we have a break on Wednesday, but it will maintain for the rest of the 4 weekdays. But it will extend from 9:30 a.m. all the way to 5 p.m. So that's just to give viewers some context, as our show, I know, is from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. So it will be in the middle of the trial. I hope everyone can bear with us as we try to bring you guys live updates. But yeah, other than that, I'm very excited to dive into today. As I said, it was a very, very exciting and great day in the court today.
Thank you for that update, Max. And I just want to give a little bit more clarity to the viewers. Right now we're just one day past the halfway mark, and we have still not gotten to Miles's witnesses yet. So that will be the reason why the trial is being extended for the next week in an attempt to hopefully catch up on the witnesses' testimonies as far as that goes, because they're trying to finish the trial by July 12th. And first and foremost, Max, this is the question we gotta ask first every time, and that is, how is Miles today?
Absolutely. So Miles is exuberant as always. He's looking happy and healthy. Came in sporting his classic gray suit with the white dress shirt and a dark tie. The shade of gray is, as you might have, many people remember in his broadcast, he always wears a specific shade of gray that is very, very handsome on him. And other than that, we did do like you said, because we're already halfway. Next week we can expect to see some of the defense's witnesses. Today we're just finishing up the last of the government witnesses, to my understanding. So we did start with witness 17, which was brought on yesterday. That was still during cross when we ended yesterday. And today we finished the examination of witness 17, finished a full examination of witness 18, and then just started witness 19 to my knowledge. So to give the viewers some context as we dive a little deeper, witness number 17 was the banker at Princeton, the BSA officer at Princeton, who was in charge of a lot of logistics regarding the closure of some of the accounts of interest, such as Lamp Capital, Greenwich Lands, as well as G Club's account. And witness 18, the one afterwards, was a intelligence agent, financial intelligence at BitGo, which is a cryptocurrency platform, which had a relationship with the H-Coin and the Himalayan exchange, but then was terminated. So that's just to give you an overview of the witnesses that we were examining this day in court.
Yeah, that's awesome. And again, today I believe this is what, three witnesses today. So they're actually, again, that goes back to the efficiency, of the court for this trial that we have always seen. Especially, I think, during the beginning when they were just selecting the jury, we sort of get a sense of their efficiency. And I think today, having three witnesses on, being able to examine so many witnesses in one day. I think that is great as far as efficiencies go. And I think before we dive a little bit deeper into today, can you give us a little bit of a brief recap on what happened yesterday for those of the viewers that have not watched the episode from yesterday?
Absolutely. So yesterday, we started the direct of witness number 17, whose name was Jamie Wilson, and she, like I said, was the bank secrecy act officer at Princeton Bank, and her main role was to protect the bank from financial crimes such as tax evasion, money laundering, and etc. And she was responsible for the closures of this mentioned accounts. And I just want to get a little bit deeper into that because it was very, like I said, these two witnesses, witness number 17 and witness number 18, whose name was Mr. Roberts at BitGo, they had a similar proceeding to them where they were in charge of picking out red flags that caused the termination of such accounts or their termination of the relationship with Himalaya Exchange. And the cross was very, very beneficial to a juror's perspective of understanding the full picture. Because in my opinion, the way that they're trying to effectively streamline the timeline, it made for a lot of confusion in the cross, a lot of terminologies that weren't explained to its full extent, a lot of just brushing over certain evidence. And when it came to the cross, it benefited us greatly because everyone got to see a full picture of what was really happening behind the scenes. So if you will, I would love to get into some of the red flags outlined by witness number 17, Jamie Wilson.
Yeah, please do go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So as the BSA officer, she pointed out a couple of red flags, and it started off with the number of accounts found in the vetting process. How she claimed that because there were multiple accounts, namely, I believe 7 to 9 accounts found under the beneficiary names, she said it was a reason for concern because she believed that most individuals would have 2 or 3. She also mentioned that so there was also the amount of money that was being introduced as the accounts were opened, namely 11 million for both LAMP and Greenwich respectively, and 15 million for G Club's operations. And she's claimed that she had not seen this amount of money entering Princeton without a loan relations agreement. So when it came to the cross, it was quickly pointed out that when she did the checks, and this was in evidence, by the way, the check system, the Qualifile, the OFAC, is all part of this process called KYC, aka Know Your Customer. It's a part of a rigorous vetting process for banks to understand who they're really dealing this relationship with. So the check system pointed out quickly that there were no closures, purchase steps, or previous inquiries on the G Club's account. There weren't any. There weren't any for Mr. Alex H, Miss Wang, Yvette Wang, or any of the other entities mentioned before, such as the LAMP Capital as well as Greenwich. So basically what that meant was that the system itself, after running this check, made it evident that it literally said that the account actions was to accept, and the suggested action is to open the account. So these accounts were opened and they were funded by Princeton. And now back to her testimony, she's claimed that there was a lot of negative news on the accounts relating to money laundering. And during the cross, it was pointed out more specifically what she was referencing to these negative news, this bad press. And it became apparent when she talked to the government prosecutors, she actually mentioned the fact that she hadn't found much bad press on Mr. Guo. And all of the bad press, or the majority of it, stemmed from overseas, as in foreign intelligence made it so that there was a bad image of Mr. Guo, and that she claimed that it had affected her judgment in terms of the termination of these accounts. So it became evident that with everything, including the opening accounts, it was actually brought up in government evidence that these account openers had actually provided a document stating exactly the 11 million, 15 million that were supposedly going to these accounts. It was actually stated that they would be trying to get this into Princeton and they should expect such balances. So every one of her red flags were essentially debunked, except for the part that she claimed that negative news affected her judgment. So it became clear that the final verdict, the reason why Princeton had terminated these accounts or closed their relationships with them, was because of purely on negative views abroad. So that was very interesting.
So just a quick question. What do you mean by abroad? Is the negative reviews coming overseas from the from the China or the other countries as well?
Yes. It wasn't specified during the testimony, but as you know from yesterday, we talked a lot about the CCP's interference, especially Operation Fox Hunt, as well as the special operatives that were sent to with these quotas to slander Mr. Miles Guo, to basically take his name through the mud, and it's like their job description to write these slander articles about him. So one can imagine that the news articles that she was referencing were these articles or these blog posts about Mr. Guo coming from these operatives. As she claimed in her testimony today that she wasn't aware of where the information was coming from, as it was on the internet. But with that in mind, one can maybe conclude that it was most likely one of these CCP operatives writing the negative news.
That's quite an interesting detail, and again, this is why we try to give coverage to this case, because at certain points there's gonna be very interesting details like this where there is a shadow of the CCP somewhere along the details of certain details that is being brought up during the trial, especially the fact that she made the decision based off of evidence you saw outside of the account itself, as opposed to basing it off of whatever she was seeing within the accounts themselves. So with that being said, I know we just have a little bit of time left before we close out the interview and move on to the next segment of the show. Is there anything else you feel like it's a point of interest for today?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I mentioned, for witness number 17, the reason why I spent so long diving into the specificities of the cross and the direct was because witness number 18, Samuel David Roberts from BitGo, followed a very similar order, and the panel will definitely discuss this further. And it was also a bunch of red flags that was raised, and during the cross, it was actually fleshed out about addressing each and every one of these concerns to get to the ultimate reason of why they terminated their relationship with Himalaya Exchange. So I definitely look forward to that. I thank you a lot for this opportunity to bring the viewers, the fellow fighters at home watching, live updates of Miles' trial.
Thank you so much, Max. It was nice having you give a reporting on what transpired today, and we'll see you next time on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Now, before we move on to the next segment of the show, which is a panel discussion with two of our other members who have also attended the trial to give us a more in-depth analysis and look of the trial. First, I want to bring attention to our NFSE Speak Twitter account or X account. On here, we will be providing live updates on the trial pretty much as soon as it happens. So if you guys are interested in finding out more about the show, please follow us on NFSE Speak on Twitter, and we are on Getter as well, doing the same thing at NFSE Speaks. And if you want to look at the transcript for the trial themselves, please go to our official website at nfseofficial.com. That you will be able to find the court transcripts there, uploaded pretty much on the same day of the trial that it takes place. Now, with that being said, let us welcome Jackson and Ava to our panel discussion.
Jackson. Hi, Jackson.
What's going on, everybody?
I would have to say today, day 17, because 17 is my lucky number. So, and I witnessed the best day so far. And on the way back, I was talking for Jackson. I said today, and it makes everything so clear to fellow fighters and to possibly people who have been following us and supporting us, because we actually gone through 3 witnesses today. Unfortunately, as we walked out of the courthouse, they just starting the witness 19. But we might not be able to get too much about witness 19, but today the highlights really on the witness 17 and 18. So if you recall yesterday, we finished with witness 17 in the half, right? So that was direct. That was a direct questioning. So and the witness 17 is the Jamie Walsum, and she is the BSA officer. Do you want to give some background information about who witness 17 is?
Yeah, Jamie Walsum, she works for the Bank of Princeton, and she was the one that essentially conducted some of the back end checks and whatnots, like for example AML, anti-money laundering and whatnots for the clients to make sure that everybody's compliant. So that's a little bit of her background. And we started with direct, but before we actually went into the direct, we started off today, as always. One thing I would like to update everybody on is the new schedule for next week. We did get confirmation from the judge. It's going to run from 9:30 to 11:30 for the trial.
Actually, we can proceed on with this part because Max has already covered it.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
So
I think with you guys, you can go directly into
Sure.
what made you feel like today is such a great day.
Absolutely. So should I start
Yes.
with Jamie Wilson?
Yep.
So the direct question continues from the prosecutor team. Basically, they asked her why she considered some of the bank accounts opened by several entities that related to this movement and related to G series, for example, the LAMP, and also the ACA, and also the Greenwich. So, and then she basically answered. They risk here because one of the documents they show is Yvette Wong. So Yvette Wong is one of the signer for I think one of the company Greenwich, if I remember correctly. That company has 2 signers. One of them are Yvette Wong, and she showed the government showed a document that reviewed that there are actually 9 inquiries on this report. It's called Qualified Check. Okay, so Qualified Check is basically a tool I think a lot of banks, not just this Princeton Bank, uses to basically check the background information, gather some of the historical information on this clients, whether it's individual or entities, regarding the history of the transact dealing with other banks before they determine whether or not to open a bank account for this client. So the document shows there are 9 banks that Yvette Wong had basically made an inquiry in a very condensed period of time. So the documents, except 2 entries, it's from the inquiry she approached different banks, altogether 9 banks, except 2 of them are from 2019. The rest of the 7 is actually from June to October 2020. Okay, June to October 2020. And the period, you have to remember, the private replacement of GTV started April. Right? So we had investors' money come in, and the movement followers and supporters who have been following Miles School since 2019, since 2018 or 2019 pulled over, right? We want to be part of this historical, movement. That's the way we support, right? That's where Yvette Wong was needing as one of the leaders of this movement, and she was needing all those bank accounts, right? So this is actually, and then Jamie Wilson said this is riskier. Okay, because she had approached in a shorter span of time to so many bank accounts, to so many banks, and opening new bank accounts. So then she kind of answered the question of the prosecutor in terms of what they have to do, when people approaching them, review documents, personal business documents, money come in, they have to monitor, and then they get down to the key information, because there's a trigger. Okay, this morning she's discussing why she had recommended the bank as a Bank Secret Act officer. Okay, recommended the Princeton Bank to close the bank account for G Club, for LAMP, for Greenwich. Okay, for 3 companies, which you know, and the reason, the trigger, and came across through the direct questioning. She said she did a open research on the internet. She looked in because she find some of the names on some of the signers, because the signer of the bank accounts are actually different than the owner of the business, and the owner of the business. Three of them are non-residents. Yeah, the ultimate beneficiary. For example, G Club beneficiary is a person living in UK. Okay, and it's non-residents of the United States, right? So the lamp is actually a person. The Guo Qiang, it's Miles' son. It's Miles Guo's son, and then the Greenwich is actually Miles's wife, right? So none of them are actually none of them are a citizen of the United States. So she thought this is riskier. Plus, if that's 9 inquiries to banks, she did her personal research online. And guess what? Do you want to continue? What did she find?
Well,
where did she search, first of all, and what did she find?
So she went on Google, and then she, according to her, she says she found some negative press, and a lot of the press were actually, she testified in court saying that most of them came from abroad, right? And as we know...
Yeah, this came through at later cross-examination, but when the government was asking, she was just saying she went on to Google, open source, right? What could you find open source? Of course, you go to, and then she find out, she actually searched G Club. Okay, so that G Club is a company. She went online and she found out, oh, this is a startup. You know, the website wasn't completely kind of a developed, fully developed yet. And she identified G Club has affiliation with G Fashion, with cryptocurrency, with Miles School. And then she actually searched the Miles School and she discovered a lot of negative reports on Miles School, and that raised a lot of red flags for her as a bank secrecy officer at the bank.
Yeah.
So that's why it triggered a lot of actions of her.
Well, one more thing possibly could have triggered it is because we learned from the trial that the Bank of Princeton had only 26 locations, throughout America.
Yeah.
And then when they initially did, because when they initially funded these accounts, it added up to roughly about $13.5 million. So it's a larger dollar amount compared to the average person.
Yeah, in G Club, it's because the 3 different companies has a different bank balances. So G Club is 13.5 million, and Greenwich has 10 million balance, and Lamb Capital has 11 million. So she's saying that, because our clientele is blue collar clientele, okay, and we only operate in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and now we just moved into New York. We never saw those kind of a large balance, so this is kind of out of whack for them, so this is outlier, so that's why I make it riskier. Continue on. So he confirmed that he actually just found the website. He's just reading the website, and he concluded, this is what she said. Miles Guo was the owner of G Club. She said Miles Guo was the owner of the organization, which we know that's not right. Yeah.
And this is only based off of information she found on Google instead of doing a check on the company.
That's correct. So that means she was not informed, actually not correctly informed, right? Just based on the report, based on what's online. She had the impression that Miles Guo somehow, and we know Miles Guo is on OFAC list from yesterday's testimony, right? So that's probably throw a lot of things off. And throughout the direct questioning, and the prosecutor team did show a lot of the opening balances of the G Club bank statement. They show the credits come in and a lot of money moving. They're trying to leave the impression that something, implying, they didn't say it, but they're trying to leave the impression that something may be off with the this large amount of money. But then in direct, we knew that this is not off, because before the account was opened, because there's evidence, there's a hardcore evidence. Do you want to talk about the emails?
Yeah. Well, so what happened was there was an email that they showed in court that actually was a communication between the Bank of Princeton with a member of, I believe, with one of the representatives from our side, the G series, and it said in black and white that they were told how much dollar amount they were expected that was going to come in. You see,
Yeah.
so it's not like, oh, out of the blue we're gonna infuse or fund the
That's
account with
right.
X amount of dollars, but there's real, it's in black
So
and
there
white,
was
you know.
communication and a notice that,
Yeah.
that this was going
Correct.
to take
That's
place.
right.
They have high expectation.
So Miss Wilson, she was not purviewed. She was not copied on the email chain. So she said she didn't know. So this is actually an email sent by witness 14, Hassan Khalid, right? Remember that he was hired as an
Khalid.
employee. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Hassan Khalid, and this is an email that's sent by him because he was the advisor. That created this, connected the relationship between the G Series, the Golden Spring people with the Bank of Princeton, right? So this email is sent on October 21st, 2020 from Hassan Khalid to two people in Princeton. And in today's cross, Miss Wilson confirmed that these two people are her colleagues. So in the email, it says that G Club, I have another client of mine. They're looking for opening a bank account. They're a startup. They have 1,600 members at the time, and they have a bank balance about 15 million. Okay, so this was completely disclosed to the Princeton Bank. Okay, and then the bank account of G Club was opened on October 30th. So
Yeah.
there's no reason for Miss Wilson to believe that this 15 million, 13.5 million is out of blue. Okay, so it was in written. So that was a really good evidence to show that. But the thing is, she actually overspoken before our defense lawyer showed this evidence. We asked a question. We asked her a question. The question is, does Princeton knew the dollar amount to be brought in before the account was open? And her answer was no. So basically, she said no based on what she knew, right? Because she doesn't have this piece of information. And then we showed up this piece of information. So I think that Miss Wilson might have other.
Yeah, her essentially claim was dispelled.
That's right. And I love today's cross. Because today's cross was done by one member of the team, which I don't believe he has
Gotten all the credit in the world.
and he hasn't took the podium. I think this is his first time, if I remember correctly.
I think
is
this
that
might
right?
be his second time.
Second time?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I forget.
Yeah.
Which member was it? From the-
Matthew. So he basically crossed this witness, and he's quite on the point. Okay, very efficient the way he does it. So he speaks to, remember the day before, we analyzed quite a bit paperwork. A lot of them are accounts opening documents that the Bank of Princeton was collected from the signers and from the UBO, the ultimate beneficiary owner, and their passport. We reviewed a lot of those things, and it's kind of a messy in a way, right? Because you see a lot of numbers, you see dates, but there's no necessary coherence in all the material that presented. But today, when Matthew took the podium of the cross, and he first to say, okay, let's take a look at G Club. Pull up G Club number. Is this the signer? Yeah, he's the signer. Do you have his information? What is the information he gave you? Is this correct? Yeah, it's correct. Is this a passport? Yeah, it's correct. Do you accept it? Yeah, correct. What kind of report do you run on this person? Oh, we run the qualified report. We also run the OFAC report. Or is everything good? Everything good. And then he specifically pulled out one of the documents that was also used by the government in their direct. However, the government, this is a report, it's called qualified report. It's basically a historical check on this particular individual before they open a bank account. But the government, when they doing their direct, they omit this portion. So when the cross took the podium, so they say, okay, go to this page. Let's take a look at this. So this is a qualified response. So when you do the search, they give you the results of the person or the entity you inquire, right? So particularly it says qualified response, this person, G Club, and then it says, on closure, not found. Previous, no closure found.
Correct.
No purchased, no found debt, not found.
Purchase debt,
No purchase debt, not found. No previous inquiry, not found. Everything was cleared, and the action was actually onto the point. It say the action is accept account action. It say accept this account, and the recommendation is open account. Clear, okay? And he did this, right? Remember that he did this with every single one that she had a question on. Okay, Yvette, clear. Alex, clear. Lab, clear.
Clear.
Greenwich, clear. Everything
and
is
this
clear.
is all based off of proper means to
Like
check.
paperwork. Yep.
Yeah.
Everything black and
It's the
white.
same paperwork that the government has shown yesterday. They just omit, right? They just
Yeah.
omitted the parts of the most important parts of the report, which is the outcome,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
You collected all those paper. Yes, you did. You showed all those numbers. Yeah, that did happen, but you don't tell people what's the
Right.
outcome, and the outcome is no flag at all.
Correct.
Right? So
Yep.
every flag is what Mr. Wilson found on internet.
Internet.
Now,
Google.
another topic comes in. So this is what we have been saying, that the CCP has spent in the last 10 or 15 years, spending 2 trillion on buying media in the West. Okay, that translates to every single year, pretty much like 200 billion.
Billions of dollars.
200 billion. Okay, so what kind of information are you supposed to find about the CCP enemy number one online, right?
Right,
So
and most important thing too about that is, Miles Guo in 2017, the very first
Yeah.
experience he's had on whistleblowing against the Chinese Communist Party is the fact that VOA, a platform that
Exactly.
a state-owned media, has, cut off the interview when
Yep.
the moment he started whistleblowing against them. So from the very start, it is well known that the media is well brought up by the Chinese Communist Party. And I think with the testimony, the argument the government was trying to build was that these accounts, there was a reason for them to be closed just
Yeah.
because an individual from the bank felt like there were evidences for that allowed her to come to the conclusion
Yeah.
that this account needed to be closed. But as opposed to the official means that later came up in the supporting documents that proved that that this account was all cleared and all
Yeah.
confirmed to be opened.
yeah, and
Correct.
remember the Operation Fox Hunt documents,
Yeah.
right? Our cross lawyer read it yesterday, right? When we crossed the witness 15 that
Lee
claimed, right? Claimed she was a victim.
Right.
And then she claimed she's also anti-CCP, but she does not agree that Miles Guo is anti-CCP even after our lawyer read the Fox Hunt, stipulation from the government, right? That
Yep.
the CCP exudes, the higher.
Targeting and the.
And it says, according to the U.S. law enforcement officer, that the Miles Guo is the highest priority of the CCP's repatriation efforts. And it's not a one-off, it's the highest priority. What does it say? It tells you that CCP wants him the most, and he is the CCP enemy number one. Right?
Absolutely.
And that is why when Miles Guo came out in 2017, all you can find out on the website and on Google, on YouTube is negative. At that time, we don't have this. We don't have this live broadcasting room. We don't have Saturn, the producer. We don't have us,
Yep.
right?
That's right.
And we have to fight for this. That's why Miles Guo established Guo Media in 2018. That was actually censored, deplatformed by Apple. Okay, Apple took it off from their Apple Store, and then we started GTV, and that's where the SEC investigation come in and shut it down, and then we started together. That's why the fight never ends, because every time they shut us down, we find
We just
another
keep coming
way.
back.
Yeah, we just like this movement. The Miles Guo is so tenacious, and he never gave up. That's why we're here today, to tell the truth.
Right, precisely. And let's keep it moving for
Okay.
the information regarding the witness. Is there
There's one
any
more.
is there
Yeah.
more
There's one
details
more.
to the witness 17?
Because remember, yesterday and today, they did a little bit of bank account transaction analysis. They said, oh, this is money come in, this is money come in. So they want to leave the impression that, Miles Guo or
Yeah.
associated person with Miles Guo that has, misappropriated the funds or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the impression that the government wants to leave. But when during the cross, we mentioned about the loan agreement. We brought up the documents that the government actually showed. This is a loan agreement between the ACA Capital, ACA Capital, which is a Miles Guo's family funds controlled company and based in Hong Kong. So ACA has a loan agreement with G Club, and it's 5 million. And when we during this cross, Matthew brought up an email chain. That government was showed yesterday afternoon. And that email chain was actually an email from the Bank of Prince, and a senior person emailed to, I forgot, to witness the 14.
Haitham
Khalid
Khalid.
and Danielle, which is
Yeah.
one of the signer of the land capital, asked them to provide additional information. Okay, in terms of their know your as part of a know your client.
Yeah, the KYC.
The
KYC
KYC,
process.
yeah.
Yep.
So he brought up again. Okay, so he said, okay, this is an email that from your colleague to us on November 24th, 2020. That's the first
right.
email. And then he brought up the second email. He said, okay, now this is a December 1st, 2020. This is a reminder email sending from your colleague. The same person sent it, the November 24th email, to the same receiver at our side. And then this is a December 2nd response from Daniel providing you exactly what you needed for, which is the loan agreement explaining all those large movements of money.
Yep.
And then he asked the best question. Because when the government, when they do the direct, they want to leave an impression, say that you guys intentionally waited so long not providing the information.
the
You have
delay.
something to hide because you waited so long, right? You need a first email, you need a second reminder, and then you didn't respond until December 2nd. Guess what? Do you remember what day is the Thanksgiving in November in that year?
Thanksgiving,
Yeah,
November 30th,
November 26th.
26. Oh.
Okay, so November, I think it's November 25th or 26th. I can't.
26th.
26th, yeah.
Yeah.
And then 27th is the Friday, right? Usually
Yeah.
people taking Friday off. So
Yeah.
that long gap. And then 28th, 29th was the weekend.
Weekend.
Okay, so the 30th is the first day in office. Okay, so December 1st is just basically the next day.
Yep.
So it wasn't, so basically that was
Like a
kind of
perfect
a
explanation for the
for
gap.
the gap between why they waited so long to provide the loan agreement.
It wasn't
Okay,
even
and then
over-
nothing to hide because everything they put it on the screen, we have a perfect answer, and that's the truthful answer. Okay,
Yep.
so I find this very strange because the burden to prove guilty is on government, but so far government has no direct evidence. All they have is circumstantial evidence, and they actually take advantage of people's bias. They
Yeah.
want you to have bias.
Yeah.
It is us that actually give the receipts and say, hey, this is a direct evidence that speak against what you just suggested. Okay, so that's how I feel. So that is
agreed.
the first witness, witness
Yep.
17.
17.
So that's pretty much concluded. Is there anything about witness 17 you wanted to add? Anything? At the
that's pretty
end,
much it.
at the end, you want to talk about what you just said? Because during the cross at the end, Matthew again asked, where do you do research?
That's
Google.
right. Google.
Okay, I did Google, I found negative views, and then Matthew confirmed just exactly
Yeah.
what you say. The news you find came from abroad, correct? Majority of them come from abroad.
Mm-hmm.
All of them. He didn't say, he just said the news you find come from abroad, is that correct? And she said some of them come from abroad. Okay, but that means some of them coming from United States, right? But you told the prosecutor that these the news that you found wasn't negative in the U.S. Then she said, no, I didn't say that exact words. Okay, so basically, I don't know what really happened, but according to our lawyer, when Jamie Wilson sit down and prep with the prosecutor, she basically just said all the negative news she received about Miles School are probably coming from mainland China, coming from abroad, not from the U.S.
Yeah, but legally, Mr. Miles had nothing to do with these accounts.
That's correct.
So
Yeah,
clear.
and then Matthew clarified a few questions. Do you know Miles School is under red notice? She said she doesn't know. Do you know Miles School is? Do you know the
Has he been
Chinese government?
seized?
Yes, has seized his assets, and she said no. I don't know about any of those things. So I'm not sure what kind of report she
Right.
read. Maybe she doesn't retain a lot of the information, but that speaks to you. You know how powerful is media, because Miles School always said media is a nuclear power. Sorry, a nuclear weapon in this unrestricted warfare, right?
Yep.
So that's pretty much about the first witness.
Number
Do you want to
17?
start? Yeah.
Yeah.
And the number 18 witness, I think that's the best day so far.
I
Yeah.
think the 18 witness is the first time someone that has a relationship with cryptocurrency has
Correct.
been brought out in court. So I
Correct.
think this is
Yep.
very different from what we have seen before, because
That's
before
correct.
it's more about wire transfers, bank
Yeah.
statement, banking, stuff like that,
Yeah.
or what victims
Yeah.
and evidence. This one is about crypto digital currency. So I'm very
Yeah.
interested to see what he testified about today.
And I'm so happy because remember that yesterday morning there is a heated discussion between the parties, the defense and the the prosecutor team whether
The scheduling?
the scheduling about bringing this witness, because our defense say they're seeking exclude him as a witness, as an expert witness, I think. But I'm so glad that he came, and a lot of information he shared during the direct and during the cross really helped us, and it really puts all the pictures together for us to understand why we have to have Himalaya Exchange and what the Himalaya Exchange has been doing and how thoughtful is they have been carrying out the strategy, launching this way, launching the Himalaya dollars and then launching the Himalaya coin and then launching the Himalaya app, pay app this way, the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Now we have a better understanding of this. So
it was very educational.
Yeah.
The witness number 18, his name is Samuel David Roberts. Okay, he worked for a company called BitGo. Interesting enough, he said he testified in court saying he worked there 3 years and 3 months. Anywho, so he got a subpoena, which led to him doing the research on Himalayan Exchange. But before then, guess what? Same thing, just like the bank accounts. Everything was clear. Didn't have any issues and problems.
So let me put the timeline here. He did 2 reviews. Okay, this is where it comes. This is where the comparison. Okay.
And also, do let me know what year he got the subpoena in, because
that's
I
right.
think
I will let you know.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So Samuel Roberts, he is the head of head of a financial intelligence unit at the BitGo. BitGo providing services, cryptocurrency services like hot wallets and custodial services to crypto exchanges or to other crypto service providers. So, and he. So remember Himalaya Exchange, our crypto coins like H-Coin was launched on November 1st, 2020, right? So the first review, the first establishment of a relationship between BitGo and Himalaya Exchange is in April 2020. So that is why they did a first review as the onboarding. As a new client, it's just like you go to a bank, you want to open a new bank account, that's the same thing. So Himalaya Exchange went to the BitGo and say, hey, this is a new relationship. You're doing an onboarding, you're doing a due diligence check process. So, but that process, nothing found. They absolutely, everything is, compliant, there's no red flags, everything looks good.
Again, similar to what was testified in the previous witness.
Exactly. So they opened everything. Okay, they opened everything, providing services, the hot wallet services, and basically hot wallet services to the to the Himalaya Exchange. And then here comes the subpoena. Here we go. You take it over.
Okay, so after the subpoena, that's when he started doing his quote-unquote homework. Okay, on Himalayan Exchange, and then.
And when was this subpoena? When did this subpoena came out?
It actually happened like a little over 2 years, right?
No, it's not. My understanding is they received a subpoena.
18 months, I believe.
So 18 months from April 2020. He didn't exactly say what months, but we can calculate what exact. But he said right after the subpoena, they started a second internal review of the Himalaya Exchange, Himalaya dollars, and Himalaya coin. Right after subpoena. Okay, so and when during the cross, the lawyer asked. So then, before because the review started in fall of 2022. Okay, so fall of 2022. That's why our lawyer tried to get to what date that he actually received the subpoena.
And started working with the government.
But he then said 18 months, about 18 months. Then our lawyer said, do you have any concern in the prior 18 months, after the first review and before you took the second review, do you have any concern? No.
Nope.
Do you have any complaints, from customer or from anywhere? No. Okay, so this is very clear. The trigger in this particular case, in this particular witness, is because of a subpoena from government.
Yep. Just the external pressure.
That's right. So then, you want to share what did he do? What did he do?
So he just dug into the Himalayan Exchange, and let's take a look. He mentioned how the historical, looking at the price of the HCN, the Himalayan coin, how it was fluctuating and this thing and that thing. I mean, the cross is really where we really saw the full picture. Okay, because the direct, at least for me, they jumped around a little bit, so you can't really get the full picture. They were, picking out this thing and that thing.
So let's do it like that. Let's reverse engineer the testimony, and we start when we kind of break down how the Miles' legal team is cross-examined them, and then we try to pick up the pieces from there.
Do you want me to say it? Because I do have the points. So,
Yeah,
so
go
doing the direct, because there's a lot of technical things, right? Because you have to consider there's a jury. Not everybody probably have the same level of understanding of a cryptocurrency. Consider it's still in its infancy, right?
Yeah, right,
Although a
pretty
lot
much.
of Americans heard of it or used of it or store it, but so they have to clear some concept. So what is hot wallet service? What is
Right.
custodial service?
Market cap, what
yeah,
are these things?
yeah, all those stable coin, like those kind of a concept they have to establish, which is
Yeah.
really good. But when he was asked what, after the trigger, after the subpoena came in that you've started the review, what are some of the red flags? Okay, what are some of the red flags you have doubts about, you have second thoughts about, that you wanted more information? So he basically said one of the things that he find it strange is there's a mismatch between the market cap, okay, because he look at it, he said, oh, this is a multi-billion dollar, because it's $20 that people say it's $20. I'm talking about H coin, the cryptocurrency, not H dollar, the stable coin.
Yeah.
So he's saying the H coin is $20 at that time roughly,
Yep.
and he look at it, there's documents saying there's a 1 to 1.5
1.5
billion issued. So he's thinking
Minted.
this is going to be multi-dollar entity, and this is such a large market cap. But then he look at their coin circulation, in the blockchain, in the public blockchain, and the transactions, it doesn't match, right?
Yeah.
So then he, so that's the trigger for him to say there's something wrong with this.
Yeah.
Right?
So to add a little bit to what Ava is saying, because they're offering the hot wallet services, cold wallet services for the Himalayan exchange, for example, but it takes time, right, for these services to come online. So one of the things was they're talking about how because also what we learned today that they're on what is the blockchain, for example, right? Because some of the transactions and activities are tracked on the chain, and there's some that are not on the chain. And the direct, they were just pretty much talking about what's on the chain, where are all the transactions, this thing, that thing, but they're neglected that, hey, guess what? This is the magic of the HPay, Himalayan Pay app. This is, once I learned that and I saw the full picture, I'm like, oh my gosh, wow, this is a genius.
So there's details. And he has another, he's talking about under the direct. He said, I recalling finding open source information again. This time he took himself and go online and searching for open source information, and he find out the Bitcoin price surged in a very short period of time from $1 to $20. Okay, remember the pre-launch, right? All the volunteers, based on your investment, based on your donation to Rule of Law, you get a certain credits of H coin, right? Witness number 15, right? The victims, and she received a 44,500 allocated H coin, right?
Right.
So at that time was 10 cents. Remember?
Yeah, 10
the
cents.
members, followers, but he is talking about this. The price is increased from 1 to 20 in a very short period of time. So he said he's trying to understand this, why this increase so high, but without a lot of volume that he can observe from the public chain. So this is a lot of question for him. That's why he trying to understand, but he couldn't understand.
Yeah.
So this time, and the prosecutor teams, he used words called
Anomaly.
Anomaly. Okay, so the prosecutor team focused on this anomaly. Okay,
Yep.
and then he said, "Oh, could you speak to it? What makes this anomaly? Blah blah." They talked a lot of what I just said. Okay, in a more elaborated way, not succinct. And then they showed a statement. The statement was produced. I think it was in July 30th, 2021, I believe, and it's a banking and fund. Is it 2021, 2020? July 30th, 2020. Because I can't find it where on paper. I'm just rely on my memory. So the prosecutor team brought this transaction, and on the bank report that produced by a third accounting auditing company. It's called Amanino. okay, because it's the letterhead right on the screen.
Armanino.
Okay. So Armanino at the time saying that the H dollar related bank account altogether, they have roughly about $401 million in bank. So I'm talking about H dollar right now. I'm moving on from H coin. But underneath the statement, there's two more lines. One line and says collateralized HDO tokens on the Ethereum blockchain, and the balance is 0. So Ethereum blockchain, if you understand, it's a public blockchain. So that's everyone can search and go find, right? Everyone. If you through some third-party apps, you can find it. You, like it. If I can do it, anyone can do it. And then the next line, it's a collateralized HDO clients on Himalaya ecosystem platform, and then this number is also roughly $1 million. Very similar to the total bank balance. Very similar. Exchange. Okay. So here, the prosecutor team is saying, well, you just said it's 1 to 1.5 billion, but now here it's only 4. That means the
numbers don't match.
The number doesn't match. Okay. So that tells you the bank only have 400 million, but you say there's 1 to 1.5 billion H dollar as well. So that means they're not true stablecoin. If you recall, what's the stablecoin? H dollar, if to be a true stablecoin, you have to have a 1-to-1 pack of US dollars. You have to have either US dollars or other assets, similar, like equal value.
A fiat currency.
Yeah, to support that, right? Otherwise, you're lying, just like a USDT, right? We talk about USDT is controlled by CCP, and they're lying. Terra, right? And it's not according to me, it's according to Letitia James, the public New York official statements issued in February 2021, so you can go find it. But this one is different. So they actually misrepresented this. The reason why they missed a very important step, which came out. How much time do I have?
We have 8 minutes.
8 more minutes? Okay, I'm gonna be really short. So it came out in the cross. So what it is there is on-chain and off-chain. Okay, so what he can see, so basically this Ethereum blockchain 0 balance is on-chain, but the HDO credits on Himalaya ecosystem platform is off-chain. So this is where when we come across direct, our lawyer showed up the white paper. We put the white paper on the screen, and we asked the witness to read it. And then after he read it, we asked him, what's your understanding of this? And he agreed, yes. According to the white paper, we issued the H coin. How do you buy into the H dollar is you have to transfer the fiat money into the Himalaya exchange. That's the only way. Okay, you cannot buy it on a blockchain because it's a pre-launch.
Correct.
This is why, this is why there's a flow charts showing. Okay, phase 1, it is H dollar pre-launch. That's why the victims allotted credits. You go buy it, you go sending your fiat money to the designated bank account, and then you go allotted those H dollars, right? And the phase 2 is what? Phase 2 is H coin. That is H coin launch. Phase 3 is Himalayan Pay. So it deliberately talk about phase 1. Okay, so it's completely different. So that means all those transactions are off-chain. You will not be able to see. This also mean right now in circulation, how much H dollar in circulation? Only 401 million. Because this information is not purview to the witness searching on public domain, because we are kept it off-chain, and we kept it for a very sound reason, which is we phased out. You can see the wisdom of Miles School and the designer behind this, because we know the CCP is at our back at every single step. If we put everything on public chain at day 1 when it's still a baby, if any audience has actually followed me on my show on Whistleblower on Weibo channel, I've talked about how they did the heist twice, not once, twice. The CCP using public money, using Chinese people's money they can control, they basically plundered the world's stock exchange and also crypto wallets. So this is how they loot and plunder wealth of other people. So that is why, knowing what CCP will do and how they will do it, this is why we phase it out. We move a large quantity in the off-chain. but every single penny is backed. So we're so confident throughout this testimony that we know every single H dollar stable coin is backed by real US dollars that was in the bank at the time, according to the statement and third-party auditing that issued by Ama Nino. Okay.
Yeah, and just sorry to cut you off. We just
Yes.
have 5 minutes left in the show, so let us maybe wrap up the 18th witness. And I know we just barely started the 19th, so maybe we just give a little bit of his background, and then we can wrap
Okay.
up for today's show.
Okay, so I have lots of good points on the witness 18 to talk about, but I don't have time. But I encourage you to watch maybe tomorrow's show or the transcript because there's so much highlights. Literally, this witness confirmed everything we wanted to say. Okay, everything we wanted to say, amazing. And now we not only be able to very confidently saying that H-Coin is gonna go to the moon because at the other day we watched the music video of Miles Guo saying H-Coin to the moon, and with the confidence I can say the investors are so confident and we are double down on H-Coin and H-Dollar and the future of Himalaya. But quickly go to the last witness because we can't really say too much about the last witness because he was brought in probably just less than 2 minutes when before we had to leave.
Okay.
And
I think maybe we can touch upon about what happened yesterday regarding this witness because I know there was a lot of material that was submitted.
That's correct. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So yesterday, so prosecutor team, informed the judge that they made a mistake. The mistake is they actually did not provide the documents that related to this witness number 19 in very late night yesterday and about his testimony and the background information. And this is basically involve 16,000 pages and 754 documents, which the prosecutor team received in middle April. This is regarding to the testimony and arbitration decision and transcript about this mercantile bank. In Puerto Rico. It's a digital bank, and today, as we leaving the courtroom, the CEO and chairman of the mercantile bank just walk in the room and ready to testify against Miles Guo. So that is where we are. So basically, I would have to say Miles Guo's defense counsel probably did not sleep the whole night last night and including good portion of this morning because this morning when we're doing the cross for the first two witnesses, the other two attorneys was not in the room. And I guess they probably was busy preparing and scanning through all those 16,000 pages. I don't know how they do it, but
and they were cut down from probably even higher.
79,000 pages just related to this witness testimony and the background information about this direct questioning across. So, I have full in all in appreciation to Miles Guo's legal team, and we wish him luck, but that's as far as we can share with the last witness of the day. But today is exciting.
Yeah, that's great, and I wish we do have more time to dive a little bit into the 18th witness because I understand how important the digital currency is to the NFSC. But with that being said, thank you for giving us such a great information regarding the trial today. And again, next week we're going to be back from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern time, and then we will be bringing the live updates regarding this case to all of our audience. And thank you, Ava and Jackson, for coming on. It was such a great information from you guys.
Thank you, Saturn. Thank you.